Have you ever wondered why you're here? Not just what you do, but why you exist? You see, the greatest tragedy in life is not death, it's life without purpose. And purpose isn't something you randomly stumble upon, it's something already inside you, waiting to be activated. Today, let's unlock it through faith, clarity, and intentional pursuit. Purpose is not discovered, it's unlocked. That's the first thing we must understand, because most people are out here searching for something that's already inside of them. They go from place to place, job to job, relationship to relationship, hoping to stumble upon meaning. But purpose doesn't come from the outside in. It's revealed from the inside out. You weren't born to find purpose, you were born with purpose. That means it's already embedded in your design, like a seed holding the blueprint of a tree. But unless that seed is placed in the right environment, unless it's nurtured, cultivated, and aligned with intention, it stays dormant. So the question isn't, how do I discover it? The real question is, what's keeping it locked up? Too many people are busy copying someone else's journey, but copying someone's life is the fastest way to bury your own. You cannot unlock your purpose while living under someone else's expectation. You weren't designed to repeat. You were designed to express something unique, something original, something necessary. And here's the truth. Unlocking your purpose requires more than ambition. It takes faith. Because purpose demands that you walk into places you haven't seen to become someone you haven't fully met yet. It's uncomfortable. It stretches you. It calls you out from your comfort zone and pulls you into unfamiliar territory. But that's where transformation begins, in the unknown. See, the world will try to define you by what you do, but purpose defines you by what you are. That why is your compass, it's your anchor. It's the reason you wake up with fire in your spirit and clarity in your steps. You don't need to chase it anymore. You need to pause, reflect, and unlock it. Because everything you've been searching for, fulfillment, impact, direction, is already waiting inside you. But it won't unlock itself. You've got to lean into faith, silence the noise, and listen to the whisper that's been speaking to you all along. But here's the danger. Even when purpose begins to unfold, one silent enemy can rob it from you. What is it? That's what we'll talk about next. Why you exist is more important than how you exist. You see, everything that was created with intent. Purpose is never an accident. No invention shows up without a reason. No creation appears without a cause. So if that's true for objects, systems, and tools, how much more true is it for you? You were not born just to wake up, pay bills, and die. You're not here just to survive, blend in, or meet the world's expectations. You were born with intent. And intent is the original mind of the Creator. It means your existence started with a thought, a solution, a vision. You're not random, you're not a mistake, you're not the result of chance. You are the answer to a question. The fulfillment of a gap, the solution to a problem someone else can't solve without you. So let me ask you, have you ever stopped long enough to ask, why am I here? Not just on this planet, but in this generation, at this moment in time. That's not a casual question. That's a destiny question. Because buried in that question is the roadmap to your future. Purpose doesn't start with your skills, your education, or your talent. It begins with your reason for being. What moves you? What disturbs you? What keeps you awake at night with passion or frustration? Those are signals, clues. They're pointing you toward your assignment. And here's the key. If you don't know the intent behind a thing, you will abuse it. If you don't know why something exists, you'll misuse it. That's why people live lives full of activity but empty of fulfillment. Because motion without meaning is just noise. And a life without intent becomes a life filled with frustration. But when you understand your intent, your why, everything starts to align. Your energy becomes focused. Your decisions become sharper. Your time becomes precious. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. But here's where the challenge comes in. Once you begin to see the vision, how do you bring it into reality? That's where faith becomes your bridge. And in the next moment, we'll walk across it together. Faith is the bridge between vision and reality. It is what connects what you see in your spirit to what you eventually touch with your hands. Without faith, vision remains a dream, a fantasy, trapped in the realm of imagination. But when faith steps in, that's when the invisible becomes visible. You can have all the ideas in the world, but without the courage to act on what you can't yet prove, those ideas stay locked inside of you. Faith doesn't wait for the facts to line up. Faith doesn't wait for perfect timing or flawless conditions. Faith moves even when nothing around you says it's possible. It moves because you believe it's necessary. Vision shows you what could be, but faith dares to say it will be. And that's what separates dreamers from doers. People of purpose don't just sit around talking about what they believe. They live like they believe it. They speak what they see before it happens. They walk like it's already done, even when their eyes tell them it's not. But hear me. Faith will test you. It will stretch your comfort zone. It'll demand that you say yes with no full blueprint. It'll ask you to build while you're still figuring out the instructions. That's why so many people give up. Because faith is costly. It'll cost you certainty. It'll cost you convenience. It'll cost you the approval of people who don't see what you see. But the reward? Oh, it's worth it. Faith makes the unseen seen. It makes the impossible possible. It takes purpose from theory to testimony, from idea to impact. Because when you truly walk in faith, you don't just wait for doors to open. You become the one who builds doors. So let me ask you, what vision have you buried under doubt? What dream did you postpone because the path wasn't clear? It's time to rise up, not with fear, but with faith. Because faith is the muscle that carries your purpose through every storm, every delay, every set. But remember this, even with faith, there's something deeper you need to understand, something about your origin. Because your purpose didn't begin the day you were born. No, it started before that. Let's uncover it next. You were born with purpose, not for survival. Let that sink in for a moment. You didn't just show up to pay bills, clock in and out, eat, sleep, and repeat. You were never meant to simply exist. You were designed to impact. You were placed here with a reason, a specific assignment, a unique role, a destiny with your name on it. Survival is what happens when purpose is forgotten. It's what happens when vision is clouded, when identity is unclear, when dreams are pushed to the side for safety. But you weren't born to play it safe. You weren't built to blend in, shrink back, or settle for average. Deep down, you know that. You feel it, that restlessness, that inner pull. It's the evidence that you were born for more. You were crafted with intention, not coincidence. That means everything about you, your personality, your voice, your story, your experiences, they all play a role in fulfilling a greater mission. You're not a copy. You're not an extra in someone else's movie. You're the main character in your own assignment. And here's the truth. Survival drains you, but purpose fuels you. That's why you can be busy all day and still feel empty, because movement doesn't equal meaning. But when you're aligned with purpose, even the hard days feel valuable. Even the struggles start to make sense, because now everything has a direction. But purpose requires awakening. You've got to wake up from the routine. Wake up from the noise. Wake up from the lie that says, just get by. No. Rise up with intention. Live on purpose. Move with direction. Speak with conviction. Decide that every day counts, because it does. So the question isn't, can I make it through life? The real question is, will I fulfill why I'm here? And the moment you shift from surviving to living on purpose, your entire life begins to change. But now we must go deeper, because purpose isn't only about what you do, it's tied to who you are. Your true assignment is hidden, not in your career, but in your identity. And that's what we're unlocking next. Your assignment is hidden in your identity, not in your job title, not in your achievements, not in the roles others placed on you, but in who you truly are. That's why finding purpose is never about adding more. It's about uncovering what's already been placed within you before you were known by anyone else. You were already designed for something specific. See, too many people are busy trying to become someone else, chasing titles, mimicking success, wearing masks, all while ignoring the blueprint they were born with. But identity is the foundation of purpose. If you don't know who you are, how can you know why you are? You weren't meant to imitate. You were meant to express. Your voice, your mind, your uniqueness, that's not random. That's your code. Purpose is not outside of you. It's built into your DNA. And when you start embracing your true self, something powerful happens. Clarity begins to rise. Confusion fades. Comparison loses its grip. Because now you're no longer trying to perform, you're starting to become. Your assignment doesn't require perfection. It requires authenticity. That means stop trying to fix what isn't broken. Stop apologizing for being different. Your uniqueness isn't a flaw. It's a clue. The things you're drawn to, the problems you feel called to solve, the people you naturally connect with, none of that is random. And here's the danger. If you don't embrace your identity, the world will assign one to you. They'll name you by your failures. They'll label you by your past. They'll define you by your circumstances. But none of those things have the authority to tell you who you are. Only the one who designed you knew what you were built to do. And that assignment is tied to your original identity, not the one life tried to force on you. So it's time to peel back the layers. It's time to rediscover you. Because once you do, your assignment becomes clear. And when you start living from identity, you start walking in alignment. But be careful. Once you step into purpose, there's one thing that will try to pull you off track every time. It doesn't come from the outside. It creeps in silently. Let's expose it next. The enemy of purpose is distraction. Not failure, not rejection, not lack of talent, distraction. Because if the enemy can't destroy your purpose, it will try to dilute it. And nothing dilutes purpose more than divided focus. You can be gifted, called, intelligent, full of potential, and still go nowhere because your attention is scattered. Distraction doesn't always show up as something bad. Sometimes it looks like opportunity. Sometimes it looks like people. Sometimes it even looks like busyness, being active but not effective. You're running but not progressing. You're moving but not aligned. That's what distraction does. It keeps you occupied with what doesn't matter, so you never access what does. Purpose demands focus. It demands clarity. It demands that you say no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. Because the moment you start stepping into your identity, distraction will show up to offer you shortcuts. Shortcuts to approval, shortcuts to success, shortcuts to recognition. But shortcuts always come at a cost. And the price is your authenticity. You cannot fulfill your assignment while being pulled in every direction. You cannot unlock your calling while you're chasing comparison, applause, or validation. Every time you say yes to something that's not aligned with your purpose, you're saying no to the thing that is. That's why you've got to guard your mind, protect your space, manage your energy, and be ruthless with your focus. Because distraction doesn't just waste your time, it delays your impact. Look around. The world is loud. Opinions, trends, voices, noise, all of it fighting for your attention. But you weren't designed to chase everything. You were built to target something. Purpose is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. So ask yourself, what's pulling you off course? What's stealing your energy, clouding your judgment, distracting your vision? It's time to cut it off. Refocus, realign, recommit. Because once you eliminate distraction, once you get locked in, your purpose becomes unstoppable. But here's the shift. You don't chase success anymore. You rise above it. Because there's something far greater waiting. And that's what we'll explore next. Don't chase success. Pursue meaning. Because success is a moving target. It shifts with trends, opinions, and external rewards. One moment you're applauded, the next you're overlooked. One moment you're enough, the next you're questioned. But meaning is stable. It's rooted. It doesn't need to be seen to be real. You see, success is what the world celebrates, but meaning is what your soul recognizes. Success says, look at me. Meaning says, I'm right where I belong. Success is often about image, status, performance, but meaning is about impact, purpose, fulfillment. And when your life is led by meaning, success becomes a byproduct, not the goal. So many people are exhausted chasing things that don't even fulfill them. They climb the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. They get the title, the money, the recognition, and still feel empty. Why? Because success without meaning is a life without substance. When you pursue meaning, you no longer need to compete. You no longer measure yourself by what others are doing. You stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be effective. Meaning doesn't demand noise. It demands alignment. And when your life aligns with your purpose, you'll find that what you do becomes an extension of who you are. You're not here to perform, you're here to fulfill. That means every gift you have, every experience you've endured, every door that opened, and even the ones that closed, we're all shaping you for a life that makes a difference. Not just for you, but for someone else. So here's the question. Are you chasing something that will fade, or are you building something that will last? Are you investing in a name, or are you investing in a legacy? The difference? One ends when the applause stops, the other continues long after you're gone. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. Because even with purpose, even with faith, identity, and meaning, there's one trait that separates those who finish strong from those who quit halfway. And it has nothing to do with talent. Let's go there next. The greatest force that drives purpose is discipline. Not emotion, not hype, not motivation, discipline. Because while passion can start a race, only discipline will carry you across the finish line. Discipline is the quiet power behind every fulfilled destiny. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it shows up every single day. Purpose without discipline is like a car without fuel. You can have the vision, the identity, the clarity, but if you're not consistent, if you're not focused, if you're not committed to the process, you'll never see the manifestation. Discipline turns dreams into strategy. It turns intention into execution. You don't need more inspiration, you need structure, you need routine. You need to build habits that outlast your feelings, because your feelings, they will lie to you. They will say, it's too hard. They will whisper, do it tomorrow. They will scream, you're not ready. But discipline says, show up anyway. And here's the truth. The most successful people are not always the most gifted. They are the most consistent. They do the work when no one's watching. They train in silence. They sacrifice comfort. They choose growth over convenience. And because of that, they rise. You were never meant to be ruled by moods. You were meant to be driven by mission. And when your mission becomes clear, discipline becomes non-negotiable. It becomes your response to distraction, your weapon against delay, the answer to every excuse. So ask yourself, can you be trusted with your own vision? Can you follow through when the crowd is gone? When it's not exciting anymore? When it takes longer than expected? Because that's when purpose is truly proven. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard, and you still move forward. You've come too far to stop now. The world doesn't need another distracted, half-committed dreamer. It needs someone who shows up, locked in, fired up, and focused on purpose. Not for applause, not for clout, but because they understand destiny is too valuable to be wasted. So as you walk away from this message, remember who you are. Remember why you started. Protect your focus, fuel your faith, embrace your discipline, and above all, never forget your purpose, because the world is waiting for the real you, and your time is now.